The next student I want to bring on is Spencer. Baron, Spencer, how are you? Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm so delighted that you agreed to come on. I love hearing, I've been hearing all these amazing stories for the last almost 2 days now. And your name was given to me by Rabbi Busco. And you're, I believe, in New York, correct?
Yeah, I'm in Manhattan.
So then I definitely want to know, you're in Manhattan, we're in Houston. How did you come into contact with the Torch organization?
So you mentioned Rabbi Busco. So I went to Aish HaTorah in 2015, I think in the fall. And
Okay.
he happened to be the person who picked me up from the airport. And then we started learning once a week for like an hour when I was at the yeshiva.
Okay.
And it was like I was totally green to any sort of observance of anything with Torah, and didn't know any Hebrew or anything. And so we became very close friends, and he also became my mentor, and we were learning together. By the time I left, we had been learning around an hour every day. And
Right.
and I also started teaching him Chinese because I'm a Chinese teacher. And
Okay, that's where he's learning Chinese.
yes. So
Okay,
when you
'cause,
hear him speaking Chinese on the phone,
he was walking around in a kung fu outfit talking Chinese. I didn't know if he was making it all up, but you're saying he actually knew what he was saying?
Yes, no, he does know what he's saying.
Okay, fantastic.
And so then eventually, so I went back to the States and started working as a Chinese teacher. And then a few years later, he told me he was moving to Houston. And then we had been learning over the phone on and off, but it was very difficult with the time difference in Israel. And then when he moved to Houston, it was super easy. And so we started learning 2 to 3 times a week at first, and now we've kept up pretty consistently for the past, I guess, 2 years. And so we do 2 meetings a week, one where I teach him Chinese, and the other where he teaches me Torah.
So is it a barter exchange of knowledge?
I see it as a very uneven exchange, but I'm glad that he wants to learn Chinese.
So what type of subject material are you studying with him?
Right now so we've been jumping around for a while, but then in the past maybe 5 or 6 months, we've more or less been exclusively doing brachos, and then occasionally where he'll find something he knows I'll find really interesting. He'll say like, all right, we could do brachos, or we could do this one thing in Gittin that I was learning with a bunch of other students, and so we'll do that.
Okay, so basically, he lets you guide what the curriculum is based off where your interest is. That's the path he wants to go with you. Is that the idea?
No, well, he will give me options now and again, saying,
okay,
like, I know you'd like this, but we could totally do what we were setting out to do. But then, in general, I've been totally trusting him that he knows what's best for me to learn, and so he decided on brachos.
Gotcha. But you were on a trajectory already because you had gone to Aish HaTorah in Israel. What sort of led to you taking that first step to begin learning?
So in university, I studied Chinese and Japanese with like a focus on Buddhist studies. And then I spent a number of years in China doing grad work, researching Buddhist sutras or working like with study abroad programs. And then I ended up coming back for a summer, and I was asked if I wanted to do the birthright trip. And I just thought, like, hey, I've never been to the Middle East. Let's try it out. And then I ended up, I didn't know anyone on the trip. And I just happened to be on a trip at the time with University of Indiana. And everyone was like 4 years or more younger than me, and like in a different stage of their lives. And but the rabbi who led the trip was Rabbi Seth Cook, who is an Aish Torah rabbi, and he seemed like a very smart man, and I just couldn't believe that he believed in Torah, because I thought, how could anyone believe this? Because the Judaism that I grew up with was, in my, like, now looking back on it, it's akin to like what you'd say to placate like a 5-year-old who you don't want to give a big ovation to. And
it's
so,
like they were nice fables. They're nice fables to tell, right?
Yeah.
That's how I was brought up too.
And so I just, I thought he seemed so wise. Like, how could he believe this? And so he said, like, wait a second, what do you think I believe? And so I told him, he's like, oh yeah, I wouldn't believe that either. And so he started answering all my questions, and I had so many questions because I was studying religion, you know? And so then after he answered them, I just realized, like, oh wow, all the things that I love about Buddhism are in Judaism, and it's already mine. It's not like I'm looking through like a lens into someone else's world. And so then I decided I wanted to go and study and see what it's like. And during that time, I spent about 6 months there, and Chaim was no question the closest connection that I had made. Chaim, which is Rabbi Busko, sorry, and so we just kept in touch. And then when he moved to Houston, I was very happy that he was just a phone call away, and we talk all the time.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Could you share, because, you know, here we are, we're trying to, with this fundraising initiative, you know, get the budget funded so we can get back to work. The rabbis can get back to work and teach Torah for another year. From your perspective, would you share what you think are the reasons why people should really consider supporting this organization and the work that Rabbi Busko does and the other rabbis do?
Sure. Well, the way that I have interacted with Torah, with other people since coming back from Israel, was this could be just my personal experience, but it seemed very like you're fully committing to doing things this way, and if it's not this way, then you shouldn't be here. And I have so many questions and things that I just was more through a lens of curiosity than trying to commit to like a certain sect of like Hasidus or something. And so the way that Chaim is teaching me is very much just I'm sitting and we're learning Gemara, and through that I'm gleaning a tremendous amount and learning the right questions to ask in the first place. And because I'm still such a stream winner, I don't know anything, and so I'm like just and so I'm just trying to get my bearings, and a place like Torch is a place that like a young professional could just talk to someone and learn without having to like dismantle their current life in order to even start their journey.
Right.
So I think it's a great gateway into learning.
Thank you so much, Spencer. I appreciate you coming on. Could you do me a favor though? could you say as your sign off in Chinese, make the torch brighter, donate the torch?
把火团团起来，然后请你捐一点好钱的。
Beautiful. I know how to say it in dub. Make the torch brighter.
Oh,
So,
wonderful.
I appreciate you coming on, sharing that story with me and with the people listening, Spencer. Continue the learning with Rabbi Busco. I mean, I know he absolutely enjoys it, and he loves learning the Chinese language from you. So it's what a relationship. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Take care.
Take care.